Him and Jim are gonna talk about things that might just blow your mind. Talking absolute DC and leaving everything else behind. So you go. It's the Weird Science DC Comics Absolute DC Show. It's the Weird Science DC Comics Absolute DC Show. So let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Absolute Comics podcast. And I hope, Gray, that I'm not causing too much, extra time here by introducing the show and not jumping right into the book right away. Because lo and behold, I don't know if people saw it. I had to get rid of this asshole. But this guy ended up showing up after the fact when the book came out or the podcast came out and was bitching and moaning because, lo and behold, we talked about Absolute Wonder Woman for 50 minutes. But it took us, about 6 minutes to get to it. And that was too much for this guy. He didn't like it. He said that we sucked and was just berating us. I don't like him. But what up, Gray?
How's it going?
Oh, lovely.
You all right, love?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, the idea of this is, and I hope this guy tunes in just to hear me yell at him because the guy was a jerk. I legit, if the guy is anywhere near the Philadelphia area and he's listening, please get a hold of me and we'll set it up. I'll set up Fight Club and we'll see what's going on. The guy was talking a real big game from behind a keyboard and then just started like the idea that he's crying, that he had to fast forward 6 minutes or whatever it was to get to the review, and then was saying I was crying because I told him to shove it. And I'm not crying. He's going to be crying. He's also going to have a dental plan.
When I listen, I usually fast forward the review part. I just listen to the
Well,
banter.
this is the thing, too. When I was thinking more about it, and again, I just want to annoy him if he shows up. But the guy ends up, he's yelling and screaming. What legit we were doing at the beginning of last episode, because it was a couple weeks ago, because we didn't have a book last week, but we also had our Patreon only stuff. We were legit at points just talking to people in the chat because there is a live chat. And if you're listening to this after the fact, you can join us at the live chat and have some fun like everybody else. We're having a hoot. We are. We had to start a little late today. And I will say that for the most part, we're going to deal mainly with Absolute Superman. Number
having
10.
Problems, folks.
Yeah. I was having problems. I was having the idea where this week, I don't know if people realize, and I hope that this is considered comic book news and I don't get shit for it. But the idea with that, some of the books were delayed digitally. And I don't know about you, Gray, but you're in Japan, so who the hell knows? You don't even have Ranch Doritos over there. But the idea, I read digitally. I read everything digitally. I don't have a comic store close to me, near me. I can't go to the comic store. So if something is delayed, and it looked like it was a Comixology snafu of some sort, they actually finally did deliver some books, but it looked like they were going to delay digital stuff. I was scrambling. I didn't know what to do. One of them was the Green Lantern, Absolute Green Lantern as well. And so I thought that we were going to end up being screwed. But then in the meantime, the book's coming out late digitally. I end up having to record all today, just angry, just yelling about books. Though this week, and since this is a DC Comics podcast, some decent books from DC, but then there's always some nonsense. But I did like JSA. I did like Batgirl, probably my favorite issue of Batgirl. And I did and I did like Resurrection Man. So I did like those. The only book that I didn't read of the books that I usually do is that Justice League Kong versus, the Godzilla.
I'm not reading it.
Godzuki meets King Kong meets somebody. That book stinks. So I don't think we're going to be doing that anymore. But then in the meantime, too, just to keep the party rolling here, we also end up talking probably the most Marvel books this week that I've done as well, at least time-wise. The actual Marvel podcast is probably going to be about 2 or 3 hours long, I think. I'm saying that.
Nice one.
It may not be,
nice
but
one.
It's me and you yelling. Okay, what did we talk about? Do you even remember what we talked about?
Can't remember.
We talked about Red Hulk and what else?
And what was the main one?
Yeah, what was it? Was there the Ultimate Spider-Man? There wasn't an Ultimate Spider-Man, was there? Oh no,
no idea.
It was Moon Knight. I mean, you did Moon Knight.
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah,
Jim,
that wasn't,
what are you doing?
That wasn't so great. But I ended up, Brandon's already heard my thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man. Not so kind words from me from that. But also,
Really?
and yeah, it stunk. But also talked about the Ultimate X-Men, which actually picked up a bit this issue, but it almost feels like it's a little too late. A little too little too late is what they say. But we have a bunch of people in the live chat. We had TJ. TJ actually gets to hear this nonsense. TJ's like, I love it. TJ's like, thanks God, I got to get here for the live chat. Why is Jim yelling about everything? Oh my goodness. We also have this other asshole, Wakazashi's T. Oh, that's you.
He's trying to be nice, isn't he? He's some dodgy Japanese AI.
Japanese guy's trying to say he's just upset because he doesn't end up having any ranch Doritos. I actually told that to Jason today, and he's amazed by it. He doesn't understand. He's like, well, you mean? And I said, they don't have ranch there. And he goes, they have to have ranch Doritos. I said, that's what I said. And then
Jim,
I told him.
got a commercial on YouTube, on your channel, but it's playing side by side to the
Really?
thumbnail. This is new.
This is the thing, though. You say that. I have it set up that they're not supposed to play. These sons of guns.
Yeah, right. Look at you. You're raking in the money, aren't you?
That's
All
it.
5 cents of it.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Now I can afford one ranch Dorito. Is what I'm going for. But we have Brandon in the chat, Jack Halsey, we have Fear Monarch, and yeah, Joseph Wolf just showed up.
Good timing, Joseph.
Fear Monarch knows where it's at. He'll be joining me probably tomorrow for some Sus Records live stream as well. So that's where you get that's where you get the action. That's where the action is. But we're going to start off this week's podcast, and thank you, Josh, for reminding me. I'm telling you, Josh ends up, hey, you might want to change that thumbnail. I love Josh. Somehow I got furious, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill everybody. And then I realized I thought I had changed it, but I did not. Also, I do like looking as we bitch and moan about things, and I say we. Less and less people watching. So it's working. It's all my evil plan.
It's the same with me, Jim.
Yeah, at one point. I did tell Wes this week, maybe this week or last week, but I'm legit in a contest right now of just trying to lose everybody. I don't care. The idea, though, I say this, I'm going to throw this out there for people. I think I may show up this weekend with another type of live stream. I don't know when it'll be. We'll figure it out. I told you about it, but I end up at this point, I've read almost every book that came out, for the most part. Not all the indies, but you know what I'm saying.
Big time.
And I end up doing that, and then I don't do anything with it. Yeah, we do the DC and the Marvel podcast, but I don't do anything on YouTube. So why, I might just show up and have like a weekly review show, but not like we do. It's not deep diving or anything like that. It's actually, just like, hey, you know what books stink? All of them. See you later. That's my whole thing.
Are you talking about doing like a comic book based live stream on your comic book channel on YouTube?
Exactly. Can you imagine that?
Imagine that.
Holy moly. It'd be awesome. But I ended up
it's a good idea.
Because on Sundays I used to have that, me and Sully talk for a bit, and it was just I'll tell you, after 3 weeks, I didn't know what the hell to talk about. I never know what to have as a deal, and I don't want it to be anything that's full out like I'm going to pick a subject that I can hate on. The comics you review as they come out. So it's not like you're picking to hate something. It's just you're reviewing it. But I love reviewing things. I tried to get away from that. I tried to kind of like do other things, but I don't like to do other things. I like to review stuff. So I'm going to review.
My problem is, Jim, I tend to review things that I like and I talk positive things about them.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going
that.
wrong, Ugh.
Yeah, I don't do that. I did get
Ridiculous.
I got a very nice comment from my man Jerome this week. I don't know. He'll probably end up watching this eventually, but it really got me, gave me a smile because he just said, thanks for reviewing comics as a guy just reviewing comics. Me and you both, we don't bring crazy stuff into it. We're not talking politics. We're not yelling.
No clickbait.
This is
no
that.
Raging
this is
at the clouds.
Oh my God, this is woke. This isn't woke. That's that. It's asleep. I don't know. But yeah, I said, I don't get involved with that. But here we go. Fear Monarch says, you got to read Napalm Lullaby. Wipe that optimism and joy off your face.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm telling Fear, you don't own me. Fear Monarch. He said that I have the evil eye. I do. I was yelling at Gray before we started, but here we go.
Unbelievable, right?
There we go. We're already 10 minutes
Made
in.
me
Somebody's
cry.
gonna yell and scream. I'm not even gonna read the comments anymore. That I had to. The guy got really hateful, so I ended up where if you go and look at the review for Wonder Woman, I think you might still see my responses, but not him. I had to take them off. But it was Remzo. When he listens, he was there. He was involved. He knows what I'm talking about. This guy was a dick. He's a real dickhead. And this guy's like, and then this Remzo goes, hey, I like listen to you chat. And then the guy started yelling at him. It was ridiculous. But here we are, Absolute Superman, a book that a lot of people don't like. But the weird thing about it, with especially these, like I don't love the Martian Manhunter. I don't love the Green Lantern. I'm starting to get sick of the what's it called? The Flash, right? But the thing is, we're still dealing with them. So when I keep saying, I don't like it, that means that currently I don't like it. I'm kind of getting sick of some people who basically are like, I don't like Superman. I don't like Absolute Superman. And I know they haven't read anything past issue 2. So, right. You know what I mean? Are they aware of it, or they just don't like it? And it's like, they're never going to like it because I think that it's picked up. It's still not my favorite book, but it's my third favorite of the bunch of runs. And I do think it's kind of away from. You have, for me, the Wonder Woman and the Superman are very close to, or Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman are very close. Batman's starting to edge its way up. You like Batman the most. But I think that from those two to then Superman, there's a space there, but it's still my third favorite book. And I do think that it's picked up. And I think that this issue, if you want action, you go get action. Like, that's basically what you're going to get the most of in this issue. But there are some things that are resolved. And in fact, some people were proven to be completely right, because Omega Prime is Talia. We find that out at the end. That was pretty cool. I thought at one point they were messing around. They were actually going to call Jimmy Olsen Timmy Olsen, but that was just a mistake by the press.
Hey, Timmy.
But that was funny. That was actually funny. I'll give Jason Aaron a lot of credit that you actually were like, really? They're changing Jimmy Olsen's name to Timmy? It was just a mistake by the reporters. That was pretty cool. But this is...
That made me laugh.
That made me laugh.
Funny.
And Lois is struggling because she has to still put up these airs of what she's doing because of her father and all that, but also does want to help Jimmy and wants to help Superman. And then at the end, this whole thing just ties into Lazarus and Ra's al Ghul. He does not want to kill Superman. He wants to take him, and he wants to kind of commandeer him, maybe even brainwash him to be his own quote-unquote son. And that was a cool thing, too. I'll give Jason Aaron some credit here because he set up some things. I had people like talking to us after we talked about the last Superman and said that they legit thought that possibly that Ra's al Ghul was Jor-El. And I thought, man, that would be crazy because we haven't seen him with it. If I don't see a body, they tell me in comics, you don't see a body, they might not be dead. But the idea where I'm like, okay, and then he says in this, I mean son, metaphorically, I don't mean by blood, but it's kind of a crazy deal that we'll get to, that I think that Ra's is a really cool idea and somebody to get involved in this book. And it makes more sense in this book actually more than it would in Batman, that some people were saying. I hate that Ra's al Ghul's more than Superman, but we'll talk about it. But it's written by Jason Aaron, Carmine Di Giandomenico on art, Ulysses Areola on colors, Tom Napolitano on letters. One of the funniest things is when Ulysses Areola first came to DC, if you remember, went by just the last name. So when me and Eric were doing the credits, it's like in colors by Areola. I'm like, that is very unfortunate. And then they realized and added the Ulysses then back to it. But you also have assistant editor Ash Padilla, editor Chris Conroy. It's chapter 3, The Beast in the Mine. And we do get some Krypton flashbacks. I thought we were done. Yeah, I thought we were done with the Krypton. But it actually ties more in with the issue and then does go with the idea of everything going on with Ra's. And what I was saying about Ra's is this book has been big on the idea, I don't know if you know this, but Krypton, it got destroyed. It blew up because they missed. Yeah, I heard that. I mean, if Greta was there on Krypton, she would have been pissed. But it ended up almost that play of they mistreated it. They didn't look at the signs and it blew up. Well, lo and behold, if any character that is an evil character to me in the DC universe who is involved in the idea of, hey, the planet needs to be lessened with these people and we need to treat it this, it's Ra's al Ghul. That's a lot of what he does. He ends up saying, he's almost like the Thanos light, where he's like, we got to get some of this population down. We have to protect the planet. It's always kind of like that. And I think it goes well with this Superman, especially with the idea that when he starts talking his nonsense, saying, hey, look, you know, we don't want this planet to be destroyed. We're trying to save it. It makes sense. And Superman's kind of down with that as well. But we find out he's being duped. I mean, this Omega Men stuff was all a big dupe, Talia. And what I like about it too is, remember, at points Jimmy Olsen was even like, I don't know about the Omega Prime. She's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs here with the idea of the god and all this. It makes sense because she's Talia and she's there being indoctrinated by her father, who is there besides the deal, but they're trying to bring down Superman. So I thought that that was really a cool play, in the way that it kind of synergy with the Al Ghuls, with how they would want the Superman. And you're going to want, you know, this badass Superman.
Just laughing at fame on it. You've stolen my dreams, my home planet.
Exactly.
my mole men.
I should be back in school, is what she does. But yeah, I think that this issue actually really, I think that this is one, I think that you still have to have read the other issues, but I do think that if you've fallen off the book and you go and just check this out, I think you might like it enough to actually catch up, because I think that there's a lot here that will get people seem to be like fooled a lot of times by a lot of action. Let's see what that Spider-Man.
Try doing that with Absolute Green Lantern. If you pick up the issue of Absolute Green Lantern and read it.
Well, and here is the thing.
What the hell is going on?
At one point, we were bitching and moaning because we wanted more Superman. I don't know. Now I'm kind of in this mode where I kind of know Superman. You know what I mean? I'm like, what else new are you going to learn? I know it's a different Superman, but
it's taking 10 issues on it to really get a bit of a feel for his character.
I'm starting to get a feel for him, and the idea that he does, and it's easy too, because he ends up where Ra's is really pushing him to kill. It seems like Ra's idea is, if we attack him like this, he'll kill somebody. Then that's easy to manipulate him now, because now he's done. Now he doesn't think that he's a good guy. He's killed, but he won't kill anybody. And it looks like he is. These peacemakers are getting like pulled up into this dust, the red dust and all that. But then they're like, no, we're reading their, signal, their what's it called? Their heartbeats and stuff like that. And he's just depositing them out of the fight. But again, I said, when you first start out, you start off on Krypton and you end up where they're in the mines, and Jor-El ends up with these moles and things like that, where this is what happens. Their source of food's gone, so they're going up, they're attacking all these things going on, and Jor-El has to make the decision, is he going to attack these animals that are just doing what they need to do? They're reacting. Also, the planet's falling apart. There's earthquakes, so it's disturbed everything. But he ends up having to do. Yeah.
Who knew Magmos?
Yeah, I know.
Under Krypton.
It's the crazy in the Krypton. So he ends up where he has to make the decision. He has to kill some things. But that's where he has a lesson. And we haven't really gotten much of that, too. I think that it serves well, too, because we don't have the Kents as much, or if at all. And so you end up where the lessons were that Superman grew up more on Krypton before he left. So he was older. So the lessons and the life lessons that he usually would have learned from the Kents, he's learning on Krypton with his parents. And Jason Aaron could have really have played, this is an absolute universe that's based on Omega, energy and dark side stuff. So in the meantime, you could have had Jor-El kind of being an asshole. You really could have made him something where Superman is kind of a jerk because of but he's not. He's a good guy, but he also says, hey, listen, like me killing these magmoles, that seems like the right thing to do, because little Superman, he's like, you had to do it. Like, you were saving the things. He's like, that's the thing, though. I kind of want this whole thing to change. Like, this is a generational thing. Everybody did do it, but it's not always right. And it's just a little bit of a lesson about killing and if you should kill. And when you think that you have no other choice, there probably is still another choice. Like, you don't have to do something just because you think you're out of ideas. Maybe think more about it or think it through. And that's where Superman, and it plays out because he's there with Christopher, Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, and he wants to kill him dead. And he even says at one point, like, if I'm going to fight this guy's going to kill me. Like, I might have to kill him just to save me. But this guy is, we already said at one point, remember, he did not want to find him he said, when you add Talia that we know now, they're like, oh, we got to do it. And he's like, I don't want to find him because if I find him, I'm going to kill him. And I know I will, so I got to stay away from him. I want to stay away. I think he told Lois as well. But the idea where he's been trying to stay away, but you can't stay away forever. And this guy ends up being souped up and ends up where there's going to be, a confrontation. But you go from there. I mean, I'm just jumping around, but the idea is, this is all set up by Raish. This is all based on Raish. I'm telling you, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. But yeah.
Just let me read a little bit from this. It's a great line. It's when we've got Jor-El with his laser gun blasting the Magmos, and he's saying, I think it's him narrating, or it might be Cal. I come from generations of Kryptonians who made their way through the harshest of worlds, with lava in their veins, Jim, dirt beneath their fingernails, and blood on their hands.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at Jason Aaron getting all fancy.
Yeah, and I actually I think that he does a good job in this.
I think it's a really good issue. Yeah.
And
really good.
Yes, there's Krypton. I still Eric made me I always end up saying Krypton now because he always said it. Yeah, Brandon said that he liked the issue. Gabe gave it a 9. What's that, Gabe? Or was it a
9?
A 9.
It's not Predator. What's going on?
My, and we have a super chat from Matt Fisher said, hello, Laverne. Hello, Shirley. That's what I would say. I'm going to heart
Hello,
that.
Matt. How are you doing?
Hello,
good to see
love.
you.
But yeah, again, I will admit, too, that I ended up all day reviewing stuff. I think this is now, I've been reviewing things with each downtime. I had to read the next books that I was reviewing since 9 this morning. And I actually forgot to take my medicine because I do take Adderall because I have
the zone, Jim,
really,
right now.
I have really bad
roll.
deal. Well, this is the thing. I got to a point around 3:30 that I realized I didn't even take, I have a morning medicine and then I have an emergency medicine, they say, and believe me, every day is an emergency. But I end up where I took both then a little bit ago. It's hitting. So I'm going to be, crazy motor mouth. But in that, again, though.
By the way, Jim, I wanted to say, I was worried that this issue started and we get the first 4 pages, as you say, it's Krypton. I was like, oh no, Jim's not going to be happy with this. It's like, we're back on Krypton again, but I think it's done well.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that before the thing's set up, this is to show you a lesson from Jor-El that Superman learned. I'll eat that up every time at the buffet. It's the same thing. We get a lot of times with Mom, Pa Kent. And I'd never mind when you go back and see Pa Kent's like, son, this is, I always love that because that gives you character work to Superman. That shows you what makes him. A lot of the things before with Krypton that was driving me nuts, and me and Eric argued about it, it kind of was set up to be, guess what? Krypton explodes. And I'm like, we know this. I'm like, we know this. Why are we waiting, taking this amount of time and weren't really getting a ton of character work because we were more concerned of building the rocket, building the things. And I'll tell you, I haven't seen the Superman movie, whether or not the idea of if you like it or not, or you're not going to watch it, whatever, all that aside. The thing that intrigues me to see it was I was told then that they didn't have like an origin deal of it, which you always do.
Dropped right in media res, as they say, in the middle of it.
I kind of like that. And I kind of like it because then I'm sure that if you drop right in, if it's a little later, you're going to have little flashbacks of showing lessons learned or how this happened or what happened there. I'd rather have that sort of story with a character established like a Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. We all know Batman's parents got shot in the alley.
Crime alley.
And I don't need necessarily to have like Tom Taylor where he's changing something. I don't like that either. And usually that's what Jason Aaron does. But what I actually like is go a different angle, show something, go through Jim Gordon, with this and having it. I don't need to see Krypton. Oh my God, the Science Council, they're a bunch of assholes. They don't listen to me. I've seen and heard that a trillion times. So when you go back though to learn this lesson, and it's basically a lesson of, hey, we don't kill. And Superman is a good guy. I don't care. That's, to me, the thing that sets up all this and where people argue a lot is I think people are done with the evil Superman concept. Don't you think that? Like the idea of I thought Injustice was good, but I'm kind of sick of that as well. And I think that where I go with Superman, for me, myself, is like there's one dark side. That's a big thing. There's not much. There's one. But for me, you can't corrupt Cal. It doesn't matter if you're in a bad universe or whatever. It's still going to be Superman at the core. You might be able to do some other things, but I think the same thing like we're getting from Wonder Woman.
No, that's what makes him who he is. That is the character. That's, as you say, even in a nightmare world, he'd still be good. He'd still be.
That's what I like.
That's what we need, Jim. That's what I want.
And so, yeah, exactly. And I think that the way that it goes is in an Elseworld story, when he could be bad, I think that shows you, it just makes Superman better when he isn't. And yeah, at one point people thought that you had to go bad to make him interesting. And I disagree. I think that Superman's interesting just being Superman. He's just a great guy. I really like him. Again, my favorite character is Dick Grayson. I like Dick Grayson because he's a great guy. That's why I don't like, like a Jason Todd. What a jerk. Or you, Gray. You're a nice guy. You thought I was going to say we're a jerk, didn't you? But here, when we go in, and again, like we're just kind of talking in general about it because my head's spinning. But you end up at the beginning, you have this lesson. And again, it feels like Jor-El ends up by the end of like almost like I don't want to do this, but I have to. I have to end up, it's me or them or whatnot. And eventually you might be forced into killing.
He's got to save his friends, his colleagues. He has to make that decision. Yeah. Otherwise he's dead and they're all dead.
And he still says to Superman, you really have to figure out how not to do that. And what happens, and I think the big lesson is as well, where Kal says, but Dad, you had to kill him. And Jor-El goes, well, you know what? That's kind of a thing you say to try to make you ease your conscience when you do that. That's like that. So don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Just, make sure you don't get in the situation and things. I thought it was pretty good. But that ties in with Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, when we get to it.
Sometimes we have to be the cruel ones, Jim.
I like the killing.
He likes the killing, is what I heard. So you end up with all this, and then we go off there. That is wrong turn with I like the killing.
I like the killing.
So that was basically the guy telling us what he likes in movies. He just likes the killing. Though that voice, if you can't hear how dull that voice was, the idea that guy thought that he wanted to be a guy who was in a horror movie because legit you're allowed to kill people and you don't get arrested. He thinks it's all real. That's what he was telling Eric the one day. And he was actually telling Eric, I want to be in horror movies because then I get to kill people and I don't get arrested. We're like, yep, he's a serial killer. We get away from him. But
Jim, speaking of serial killers, Jim, about this, the main dilemma of this issue, what did you think? Like Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, he just wants to kill Superman. Yeah. That's all he wants to do. Can Kal justifiably, take him out?
Well, that's the
dilemma, really.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
And that's why I like the idea with Jor-El, where you do think, and Superman said, if I get in a room with him, if I'm with him, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to end up killing him. And he doesn't want to do that. So it's almost like, it's the idea of if you're on hey, I'm doing the cocaines. Well, instead of me saying I'm not going to do the cocaine, I'm just like, I can't be near that shit. Like, yeah, I know I'm going to take it. And exactly. That's what it seemed that Kal's like, I know I will kill him if I get near him. But lo and behold, he doesn't.
It's cool when he says, I beat him senseless in about 4 seconds. That's a great line here.
Oh, yeah. And I think that the big play, too, is that Christopher... You kind of feel bad for him, though. Remember, he didn't want to go back in the field, and he was forced by Brainiac. But you realize now, all this is the whole plan. They end up getting him crazed out, so he'll do this stuff, go and trigger Superman. Superman's there because they captured Jimmy. The Omega Men are there because of the same deal. But all this is kind of converging in. Lois is there with Timmy / Jimmy. Yeah, and all this stuff happening. And legit, even the idea in my mind where it's set up, where the news is announcing exactly where they're taking Jimmy. Like, they even say, they're taking him to Greenland, all this. This is all just, hey, we want Superman here, and we want him to go nuts. And so
it's a trap.
Yeah, exactly. But the weird play is the trap. Superman seems to go against the trap because I think the trap originally was Ra's wanted Superman to come and kill a bunch of people. And then he could force him into being, subservient to him, saying, listen, now we can kind of arrest him in plain sight. But also the idea,
him, isn't he?
He wants to corrupt him. I think he thinks once he kills one person, I think that I'll be able to convince him of anything. Then I could blackmail him, whatever. That's why he's so concerned. And I'll tell you too, Brainiac has seemed like such a badass up until this point. bits, right? Remember when he's cutting into people and Christopher and all this stuff? He comes in, he's like Igor. When he comes in, he's like kind of one leg limping, and he comes in and Raish is treating him like crap and like, you are disgusting, and look at you. And he says, okay, how many people is Superman killing? Because it's just, there's bombs going off. There's all these people, like, you see parachutes everywhere because of all these people jumping out of planes and stuff like that. But you end up where he's like, no, nobody's dead. He's not killing any of them. He has not killed one person. And Raish almost is like, well, we'll get there. You know, my son, he keeps saying my son. And again, that was kind of, in my mind, a bit of a, I don't know, it was kind of a cheap kind of way of trying to get a mystery going, because then when if you say that and then later say, well, I don't mean by blood, I'm like, well, what the hell did you mean?
At last, the day I meet my son.
You were trying to dupe us. But yeah, he ends up where, in my mind, what you could think then, if you go by not the blood, what he might be saying, just like with Batman, he wants somebody to mate with Talia to make like a super grandson or something, like a Damian. You know, the absolute Damian kind of idea, because once he reveals Talia, I think that's the play of trying to, you know, kind of advance things with them. Yeah. But in the meantime, yeah, you get Lois and Timmy, but they're being led. And Jimmy, the best is Jimmy's like out, the Peacemaker's all over the place. And Jimmy's like, Miss Lane, like, aren't you on my side? Like, you're pretty, we want to save the Superman. So she's like, you shut your mouth or I'm going to knock your teeth out.
He's more upset about the newscaster getting his name wrong. And he's like, now, should I laugh or cry? I don't know.
And I think that he really is taking the idea, number one, that Superman's on the Omega Men and he's going to be saved, but also that Lois is kind of with him as well. And he's like, it feels like he thinks it's all a joke. And she keeps telling him, like, you're going to get us killed. Just shut your mouth. Also, there was a weird play. I don't know about you, but when she ends up saying, shut the hell up or we're both dead, I swear, looks like Superman. She looks like Superman in that close up, right? With those crazy purple eyes. But yeah, and then you just watch. And again, if you want to go a visual, Raish sitting there, it's Darth Vader and the Emperor watching, you know, the battle going and, this space station's fully operational. It really looks like a Star Wars scene there while they're watching the battle just rage on. But
and
that's where
freaky Brainiac, Jim, don't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's freaking me out, man.
Like, I didn't realize the guy's got blades, so you know he's going to kill his wife. So you end up all this shit going down. And then Christopher comes in. I was going to say Christopher Priest. Christopher Smith comes in and says, hey.
Christopher Robin?
Yeah, he's like, do I get to go and do this? I want to kill this son of a bitch. He's got almost like Lex power armor too, which is cool, but he's more of like a Mentallo, like that.
He's asking for permission to win this time, which is a bit weird, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, and I said Mentallo.
He wanted to kill him last time.
Yeah, he's like a Metallo, the way that he's been set up. Even later, Superman feels bad for him and says the things that they had to do to him. We saw some of that shit. It was bad, but he's like, the things that they had to do to him had to have been horrific. But he has one purpose, and that's the worst. I think that Jason Aaron does good character work because I do kind of feel bad for him by the end. He's a piece of crap, but remember, again, he was out in the field. He had PTSD, said to Brainiac, which he thought at that point was just a computer program, AI, and said, I don't want to go out there anymore. I don't think that I can do it. And they're like, nope, you passed the test, go out. And he went out and people laughed at him and he killed them. And then all hell broke loose since then. But in the meantime, now he has one purpose, to kill Superman. And he seems to really want to impress Raish. And then even when you get to the deal, I guess Raish might be, dangling the carrot of, hey, if you're really good, you might be able to, nail my daughter. I don't know if he goes full out like that, but it kind of seems like the idea of being the chosen one. And he wanted to be that. But yeah, make him look like a chump. Superman takes him down in 4 seconds and just levels him. Just destroys him. He's just there again, almost like Darth Vader. But you go from there because they're just blasting again. The in my mind, this issue, it's balls to the wall action, but it's also like the stuff in it. I think it's more than just he says this and that. There's a lot of stuff that has led to this, but it's a lot of stuff that's like Raish's philosophy is this and Superman's this and whatever. But really, the big part is it's a pretty cool kick-ass action, comic. This this week. So I
And
thought
they
that
are
was pretty
throughout,
good.
Jim. It's awesome, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really good. You know, people weren't sure in the beginning, like saying the artists, they were, hey, you know, his art looks a bit weird, like it's a bit CG'd or something. But I think it's got better and better. But hang on a minute, it's a different artist, isn't it?
Yeah,
What am I talking about?
and it's Carmine
It's
Di
Carmine
Giandomenico.
Falcone.
Hey,
Sorry.
the Carmine. Hey, but no,
Hey.
I think the art was pretty good. I actually,
I love it.
I
think
like
it's
the
really
art throughout, but I
That's
think
right. It
I
was
might.
Rafa Sandoval, wasn't it?
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
beginning? Who does the cover, and the cover's awesome. I
Yeah,
want to talk
the
about
cover's
that.
really,
That
really
cover
good.
is brilliant.
And I actually, I don't know. I never had a problem with the art, but you
No, I didn't.
had told me before that some people were like
Some
hinting
people
at.
were complaining.
I,
Yeah, it was a
again,
bit
I think that there's a lot
computed.
of, and Malik just joined in the chat, or is in the
Hey.
chat, and said that finally got
How's
to
it
make it
going?
live. Thank you for joining us. You can hear me lose my mind, and Gray try to catch up. Is what we're doing.
Great
here.
trying to get a word in edgewise. It's like talking with my brother. Jesus.
That's right. Yeah. I did see the thing with your brother. Your brother just talked. But again, the whole play of this is, and I'll bring up something that might make you giggle. Remember when we talked about the last time we talked about this book, and
Yeah.
somebody brought it up, and then you went and got like that, and you showed that. I think it was Screen Rant who ended up saying the issue was, this is the origin of evil Superman. Remember when they ended up saying that, and you're like, oh, look at this headline, and there was a bunch of people talking about it. It was about a month ago or whatever, but they thought that it was Dark Superman. And I think Jason Aaron's playing the idea because, again, if he kills Christopher Smith, I almost said Priest again.
Priest.
But if he kills, then he kind of is bad. Like, there's not really much going back from that. And you're almost playing the idea in this, if you ask me. I don't know what Jason Aaron's deal is, but I think that the idea might be, hey, that Man of Steel, when he killed Zod because he had to, this kind of almost feels like it's like explaining when you don't have to and you never should. And it kind of seemed like that, though I don't want to get in that whole Snyder cut nonsense or whatever, but that's what it kind of seemed like. Like, if you end up killing, then you're bad. You're not really Superman. And at the point where they set it up here, I thought that, I didn't think he was going to kill him, but I was worried that I was worried that Jason Aaron might do it, and then it would have actually, I'll tell you right now, it would have really thrown the book for me. I don't know that I would have really have loved the book. I
was worried, Jim, that they were going to get somebody else to somehow,
Oh, I thought it was going to be. I thought it. Yeah.
Kill.
I thought it was just going to be Omega Prime, the Primus, doing it. And Malik actually said, "How do you guys feel about the Primus reveal?" I think we could have guessed, but it was still quite effective. I think it's somebody who was here. I couldn't remember who
You
it
called it,
was.
didn't
No,
You
it
called? No?
wasn't me. I ended up where I do believe. It
can't
might have been
remember.
Joseph. Well, it might have been Joseph. If you're still there, let me know. But the idea, somebody did say, and then I realized, and when we were recording, I said, I think they're right. Like, I love.
Going to be Talia. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love to take credit for things, but it wasn't me. It was somebody else said it, and I thought, oh shit, yeah. And I think I even,
Right.
I think I even
God damn
said
it.
on the stream, definitely, that I think they're 100% right. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was
So
cool.
whoever
And-
it was, I think it was Joseph.
Yep, it was.
Joseph!
I
Good call.
thought I did remember it being Joseph, and it's right
Nice
on.
one, Jim.
He was right.
Look at
And
you with your good memory.
yeah, really, it's when I'm drugged up. The idea too, though, with it, and even with Joseph spoiling the shit out of it for us. That's all I'm going to do now. I'll shame Joseph. He spoiled it. Now, the idea when he said it, I agree with Malik that you could guess it. Joseph did. I agreed with him. I think it was still cool. I thought it was cool, and it kind of.
I really like it.
It was kind of the thing where you can play in this absolute universe too. It's like there's like levels of that's cool, because right away it's like, oh, it's Talia. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wait a minute. Raish and oh my god, she's with Raish, and this has been a dupe. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Like, overall, it's pretty cool. It actually like really ends up broadening. I
Looking at
think
reviews,
the whole
Jim,
world.
just skimming through, most people seem to really like it. There's a few like saying, "Oh, this was very predictable," blah blah blah. But yeah, most people are really into it. Like, yeah, even if we knew it was coming, it was well done. It's been really well written.
Yeah, Joseph said that he actually, and I think we were talking about that as well, the idea that she probably is that because she hates her dad, which a lot of times she does. She still might. I mean, she was talking a lot of God stuff, and it seems like she, was, I said cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for old Raish, but she still might end up going against or whatnot. But
Do you think Raish is trying to bring them together?
Oh yeah, I think that. Yeah,
he wants an heir, he wants a grandson, he wants a Damien.
The same thing he did with Batman, and how they ended up because he needed a vessel at that point. So I don't know how they'll play it here, but he kind of does play out that idea that he needs somebody that's durable and whatnot, and it might be the case that they're doing like maybe the absolute Damien is Superman's son. That'd be pretty crazy.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. And then, Malik said, the backstab was something. Happy to see where the next issue goes. I love Raish trying to make him a son. I think that I'm telling you, not that this issue makes Superman better than what I think Batman and the Wonder Woman are, but it lessens the gap. I really like this issue. But you go on now. I'm appearing to crash now on. Actually, I was going to tell people I was going through all this stuff, but legit, we will go on to the next book, and it's all gray, so you'll get a lot of gray there. But I do seem. I'll tell you, anybody in my life, like the biggest complaint I always get is that when I get excited about something that usually people can't get me to talk. But when I get excited about something, and I like talking with you, Greg, you get me excited in all sorts of ways. But in the meantime, you end up where...
I love it when the Omega Men come, like, beam in, Jem.
Jem?
Sorry,
Timmy? But yeah, and
no, they called you Jen then, which is my mum's name. It's cool. What is it? They're after Olsen, of course, but the funniest scene is when Lois... like decks Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
She's like, hey, Miss Lane, Primus can get us out of here.
Yeah, just because Jimmy won't shut his mouth.
Shut it, Olsen.
Yeah. So also you have the play where Christopher said,
he's like
Peacemaker.
Miss Lane.
He has that gun with the bullet in. He has a kryptonite bullet.
Yeah, the whole time he just wants to shoot.
I thought it was going to be the end of like Lethal Weapon, where all of a sudden he was going to get shot, and I actually thought he was going to get shot even more. I did not expect Raish to grab the gun and shoot Christopher in the face. Like
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. And again, if you're gonna, the weird thing about Raish and Superman. Now, Superman ends up getting stabbed in the back, literally and figuratively and metaphorically. He gets ended up with the kryptonite knife, which everything that he's getting hit by, it is making him weak. Also, they did do a thing where I wasn't aware, and I guess, does it broaden the deal of like, did you know that the planet didn't have, like, I know they're in Greenland and things like that, but they're like, we don't have sun here for 38 more days. I'm like, what'd you say? What's going on? And he's like, his solar, reserves are going to be down. So they definitely planned all of this, like to the T. And then they hit him with kryptonite. He's weak, and they're doing all this. Also, the idea at some point he may actually have to like just agree to do whatever to just stay alive because the kryptonite soul, he's fritzing out, all that stuff happening. And I think that the whole play isn't just like, hey, we're good people. Like, I think that maybe Raish could have done it a different way. He might have been able to get Superman on his side in a way of like duping him like that he's good. But he doesn't even care. He's just going full out. Like, I'm going to capture him, and I'm going to make him my son. And again, saying son, son, son. And he's like, not really by blood, but yeah, it might be by marriage. It might be a forced marriage or something with Talia. And Talia's usually pretty sexy, so I wouldn't complain.
It's also a play on the word sun as well, Jim, as in the sun, which is not shining there.
Yeah, exactly, like, that, and the last sun of Krypton. You have a lot of stuff with that sun going on, but yeah.
Joseph in the chat is saying, like, Superman sacrificing for Chris was awesome, especially after they set up that he might need to use the mother box again.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and so he does. That's the thing, too. To be a hero like Superman, that doesn't mean, like, not killing people just doesn't make you the be-all, end-all hero. Like, he saves people he shouldn't, saves people you didn't think he would, and he does. He takes it.
He catches the kryptonite
and that's
bullet,
the weird thing, too.
That's insane.
I think that, and at one point, I did see somebody complaining, and I'll ask people in the chat what they think, but people were complaining, saying, Superman thinking about the ways that he could kill Christopher that's evil, and that makes him evil. He's not a hero then. I'm like, I think that it's pointing out like he knows that he could do it and he's not. That's what makes him a hero. Like, he knows that he could do it. The one is horrific. I mean, the one he says, I'll rip his heart out of his chest and fly it into space so quick that he'll see me taking it away. He won't even die before I have it in space. And that's like, oh God, like, that's dark, but he's not going to do it. I think that's
No.
almost like not therapy, but that's like blowing off
That's the
steam for
point,
him,
isn't
right?
it? It's you know you can make that choice, and it's still you're not going to do it. You're not going to go that far. You're not going to give in to the
Yeah.
dark thoughts or whatever. But it's tempting.
Yeah.
And he's still young. You know, he's
Yeah,
still
he
a
is.
young man.
Yeah,
he's
he
still
is.
learning.
And
who he is.
I do think that I'll ask you, when he catches that bullet, when he takes I don't think that he's necessarily saying, okay, I'm going to get this bullet because this guy, I think that he just reacts because somebody's going to die. Like it just so happens that it's who it is, but I think he would have done that for anybody because he doesn't want anybody to die, right? And he ends up where, again, he's getting lit up too. I mean, and then gets the idea that Talia comes and stabs him in the back is like, that's just like the icing on the shit cake because, geez, he's getting just destroyed.
Just when you think it can't get any worse, you get stabbed in the back. Oh, no.
And then the best too is, and there's a lot of people who don't like Lois in this book, right? They really, there's a lot of people who just hate her because of her haircut. That's ridiculous. But she gets walloped too, and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be people. I'm like, I don't know. I love Lois. I don't know this Lois as much. You know what I mean?
No,
but
we don't know that. Not
I
really.
do love Lois, but I'll tell you, Lois is one of those characters that I don't mind getting kicked in the teeth like every 6 months or so. Sometimes she needs to be, kind of put in her place a bit. She gets a little high and mighty.
Pretty nice sidekick by Primus.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Look at that.
That's like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Next thing, going to be doing a split on a hotel balcony. So she ends up kicking her there, and I'm like, man, this week we got this Lois kicked in the face, teeth, just dental plan activated, right? We end up getting Paul getting broken up by Mary Jane Marvel, and then we get Jay Nakamura ending up, which I'm like, what is happening this week?
Also, Jim, let me ask you, after she sidekicks Lois, is it Talia that's throwing those knives into the other Omega men?
Yeah,
what the hell's going on there? Is she killing them all?
Yeah, because she's just duped them, and she's just bad. I mean, really, if you want to know,
bad to the bone.
She is. That's like that is classic.
Look at you, all lined up, ready to play.
You see that? That's what happens when I'm medicated. But yeah, Saul again. I think that they know more about Superman, and I think they've gotten Lois actually did end up giving him, even though she didn't want to. Like the things, I don't think that she even could have ever guessed the shit that's going down right now, like the stuff that's going. Then I thought, okay, well, how would you get Superman? Like, and that's the end of the issue. And then I want to go and ask you what you think is going to happen. Because at the end, legit, it's Ra's sitting there with his daughter and everybody else seems dead. I mean, there are so many people just devastated. The Omega Men down. I don't even know where Jimmy is. Lois got the teeth kicked in. Superman's fritzing out and whatnot. But do you think that the plan is to kill Superman and then put him in the Lazarus pit and bring him back and actually take advantage of that process?
I never thought of that. I thought there's no way going to kill him. They're going to maybe torture him.
You know what I mean?
Something, extract his DNA to create something, that kind of thing. But that's an amazing idea. Because
if you do end up killing him when he comes back, first off, you can play whatever you want in this universe. If it is a Lazarus pit, and we kind of know, and Ra's has been talking about going in and out, but you could say that when you go into Lazarus pit and you come out, you may come out and you're crazy. Like a lot of times you come out, or maybe you come out and your memory's wiped for a while, and they could end up kind of brainwashing them through Lazarus pit type of deal, and maybe that's the play. Maybe
that's how you play the Dark Superman card. Yeah,
and if you want to play it in this, I could see Jason Aaron legit considering the idea of being dipped in a Lazarus pit like a baptism type thing, and you are playing a lot of religious overtones with Ra's and the Lazarus and stuff like that. So that might be like that sort of angle as well. Like to actually become one of us, you have to die and come back in the Lazarus pit. It does something to you. I don't know. Also, you're going to have a thing where legit, if we go through some cool things, because I think this sets up a lot. What do they do with Saul? Because I think Brainiac's going to really, Brainiac's going to
save him.
And if Soul doesn't, I think Brainiac would love to get his hands on something like a Soul AI. That would be something that would really get Brainiac, a chubby. And I think that might be the deal. Or you end up where he even corrupts Soul or becomes part of it. And now we have a Brainiac AI with Superman that would be in his head all the time. Again, brainwashing him. You could end up having this. Now, I'll ask everybody if this connects. Remember we heard that coming up, they're going to end up tying in Wonder Woman to Batman. They said Wonder Woman's going to meet Batman. Is it weird that they didn't mention Superman? You know what I'm saying? They never really said. They keep saying about now maybe somebody's seen something that I haven't seen.
Jim, the Holy Trinity.
But I think that maybe Superman in it, they're going to maybe play. I said I don't like a dark Superman anymore. I'm done with it. But if it's a duped, taken over and manipulated Superman, that's a little different. And you might end up getting that with the whole big thing going is that the Dark Legion and Darkseid coming back. I'm not so sure what Ra's would be. Ra's is a weird guy. Ra's is a guy who is involved. Like when he goes to take over Gotham, it's not just like, oh, Batman's a dick and I want to go. It's because he thinks Batman does it wrong and he wants to end up cleansing things. And he's big with the, the whole, environment and the planet and things like that. And I don't know that he's going to be there for, you almost assume because he's the villain that when Darkseid comes in, he's like, oh, I welcome you, Darkseid. But I don't know if that's the case. He may know more of what's going on and needs Superman to set up that and may actually, in a weird way, become one of the, freedom fighters for this world and things. I don't know. There's a lot of things, though. And you end up, and that's what Malik said, maybe Wonder Woman and Batman will have to take down a warped Superman or, end up where they realize, I don't know that they'd be able to realize that Superman's really good, though, because you haven't had him out and about. And most of the coverage would have been through Lazarus, which would paint him as a dirty alien who's just bad. So the idea, I think, that they would be squaring off with Superman thinking that he's completely evil and maybe discover that he isn't. And it probably is going to show, and a lot of setup in this issue is the idea of not killing. And I think that Ra's is definitely going to try to break him of that. So, yeah, I really think that it might be a cool setup. But it is something weird where I haven't seen anything of mentioning, oh, by this issue, Superman is going to meet Wonder Woman. It's just Wonder Woman's going to meet Batman. And we've been wondering when this was going to happen and things like that, thinking that most of the characters so far we have are kind of setting up a Justice League. But we'll have to see when and if that happens anytime soon. But I liked it. I thought this was probably the best issue of the series. I really do think that for just straight up action, reveals, twists, that sort of thing, I thought that it was really, really good. Now, I'll tell you my score right away because I'm all hyped up on the goofballs here. I think I'll go with Gabe. I think I'm a 9. I might even be able to go like a 9.2. I really liked it. I really thought it was a I really thought it was a
Mr.
great
Positive,
issue.
amazing.
And legit, you want to know when I read it? I read it like 10 minutes ago. When I got done reading it, we recorded. I think that's why I'm so hyped. Usually I have a little bit of a time to digest it and stuff and I go, but I was pressed, so I ended up getting done and going right into this. So yeah, I don't like to breathe. Breathing is overrated, but
you're still buzzing, aren't you, Jim? You're buzzing from this issue because it's a cracker. And I'm the same as you. I was like, do I go 9? I'm at 8.5 or 9, but after talking and with you about it and the chat, and I've read it twice. Darling, yeah. So not just once like you. I'm 9 out of 10. I'm a straight 9.
It's really good, and yeah, it's
really good.
And while I was going through this and losing my mind, I haven't been reading the chat. You've been keeping up with the chat, but Brandon's right. I do think he just asked. But of course, Batman's going to kick babies in hell. Because as Pat Benatar said, hell is for children, and it's for babies to be kicked is what we get. But yeah,
I thought hell was other people.
Yeah, it's for everybody. But we'll go on to the next issue. I will read the credits, but this is going to be more great.
Don't be relying on me, Jim, because I couldn't make much sense out of it.
I'm relying 100% on you. Everybody,
goodness.
You just have to keep bitching and moaning that I'm talking. Everybody's yelling. They feel bad for you. So here we go. Now I even have to load it up. But the whole thing with this Green Lantern, does anybody like it? I'm being serious for the people in the live chat.
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
And
what do you think?
If it is the idea, I don't want to hear, oh well, I think it might get better, or I'm talking about right now when this book comes out. Do you say, oh God, it comes out this week, all right, and go to read it, because I dare to say that I don't think anybody could say that. And we're talking about a book that I end up where I think it's very obvious. I don't love The Martian Manhunter, but that has something. I still, when I'm reading it, I have to say, I understand why some people like it. I understand there's that art thing. There's all that going on. But what is there for this book? What is there in this Absolute Green Lantern that will grab people? Because it already felt like at the beginning that when it was just announced, and again, I hate when people hate on things before they read it, but the fans of like Joe and how everybody was already losing their minds. The only thing that I think we've gotten, and in 5 issues, do you know what's going on? Because I don't. And is it gripping you to make you want to keep reading after 5 issues? I don't think so, right? How about you?
No, not at all. No,
and
I don't think so.
Do you think, to me, the only moment that we've had that I actually thought, and you were the one who actually even got a hold of me, I think, before, or we talked about it before we talked about the last issue, was the idea of, those people were sent to Oa. That's the only interesting thing, and yet it's not really anything, right?
And that's not being developed.
Yeah.
As people have said, like we were talking before we went live, Jim, there's a really cool, honest review, a rare one on League Comic Book Geeks, and they nail it. It's like, if you're going to tell a story with this crazy, jumping around the plot, non-linear
story.
For one thing, you've got to like make the different time periods a little bit visually distinctive, so you know which time we're in. But when you actually put the story together, it's really, really basic, simple. So I think Al Ewing's just been doing this to make it feel like, oh my God, this is a complicated and amazing story. It's not.
I'll tell you.
Nothing's happening.
He's done this before, and it drives me nuts. But usually what happens, first off, after Pulp Fiction came out, then every wackadoo wanted to do this nonlinear shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was like, oh my God, it's so smart. But legitimately, that review is 100% right. 99.9% of any nonlinear story is to mask the idea that there's not much of a story. It makes you then pay attention because of the idea that you're jumping around times. And so it makes it feel bigger because you have to struggle to kind of keep up with it. That doesn't make a good story, though. It has to be smart and it has to be clever. And this guy on League of Comic Book Geeks, I read it earlier today and read the review. I'm like, that's a really good review, because he's right. The idea, if you are going to jump around, you said already the first thing, if you're going to jump around, you have to have visually distinctive art to know when you're in the past. Manga does it great. You have black borders. When you have a black border in manga, that means it's a flashback. You don't have to worry about anything else, because lo and behold, you can't really change a lot in black and white art. It's just black and white. So what are you going to do? Well, you make the border. More
difficult, isn't it? Manga,
So you make the border the deal. What is the funniest thing about that is people will end up where, if you get a trade, our man Luke Hollywood ended up showing me one. It's so funny. There are trades where you look down at the book, you look at the pages holding it, you can see if the trade is a lot of flashbacks, because it'll just have a lot of black on, on the top when you're looking at the pages.
Right, you can see it.
Yes, you can see it there. And he said, I forget what book it was, but it was all like a complete flashback, the whole thing. And he's like, it was crazy. But the guy goes further. It's not just the art, because what makes this worse is it's the same people in the same places, just different time, which makes it even
going
worse.
Back to the same thing happening, but like from a different angle, isn't it?
But it's the same people. So, and with that, because you keep doing that, it is true. No story's progressed. We've gone from the first issue to 5 issues. It's almost a trade. DC usually trades are 6 issues for the most part. What have we got? We haven't gotten anything. And again, Martian Manhunter, I still think is nonsense, but I see where people could be like, well, we did this or we did that.
What we do get, Jim, in this, finally we get the origin of the Black Hand. So, okay, Abin Sur, gave it to Hal.
I think I accidentally muted you, Gray. You got to unmute. I ended up muting Gray. I had enough of him. Now I don't know if he can. Oh, God. Did I mess you up? I ended up...
You muted me.
I had to cough. I was trying to cough, and I have to mute.
First of all, I can't get a word in, and then when I try to say something, you mute me. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. What were you saying then?
What was I saying?
I'm hitting the cricket. What were you saying? I'm telling you, I was trying to
There is
cough.
a big reveal, Jim, in this issue. The big reveal is we finally find out how Hal got the black hand.
Yeah, he got
it was
the black
Abin
hand
Sur
from Abin
after
Sur.
Hal shot him to death. But it's gone back to the beginning again. It's like, okay, now you're telling us, finally, after 5 issues, does anybody even care anymore? See, I'm getting angry now.
Yeah, you get angry, Greg.
Not just because you muted me.
Well, here's the thing then. I'm telling you, I had to cough, but I realized when I went to go mute myself to cough, I have to mute it here and on the live stream through the other place. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to cough. This stinks. But yeah, so this whole thing, like what has happened? I don't even know what do you talk about with this book? You know what I'm saying? Like nothing really happens. And I'm even reading it now. And Hector Hammond's there. That should be big, but it's not. Yeah,
he's really annoying in this. I don't know the character for one, but is this how he is normally, folks? Let me know in the chat. He's really annoying.
Yeah, I will tell you. Brandon says that we should be hitting Sammy when we get to it. Well, believe me, Sammy's on the board, and Sammy was. And I'll tell Brandon right now, Sammy is on the board for multiple issues this week. I actually hit it a couple times, but that's the weird thing about DC, and this absolute. Podcast is almost like a amalgam of everything. Is for every great book that I read, there was a stinker, and that's what happened here. I really did like Superman, but this Green Lantern nonsense is just not very good. Again, I didn't really
I'll
go
always try and
through
focus on positives. If I'm going to be positive, I'll say that, okay, we get the reveal of the Black Hand, that's fair enough at last, after 5 issues, but the action scene's pretty good. The fight, it's like a manga fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Joe and Hal going for it.
This is the thing, too. I will say that Gray is very positive. Like way more positive. I mean, this is a guy who actually liked Daredevil Cold Day in Hell. I mean, if you're going to go that far.
Come on, it's Marvel's best book this year so far.
Holy
Come
crap.
on, man.
I love
it.
I ended up where I was so angry at you. I ended up telling Simon. I actually just said to Simon, we were talking about something and that Cold Day in Hell came up. And I said, oh, you have that and it's Charles Soule. And he's like, I thought Charles Soule was like known to suck at Daredevil. I'm like, I still think he does, but everybody else is into it. Everybody loves that deal. But Joseph Wolf said that he liked how annoying Hector was. And it probably was. It probably was on purpose. I mean, he kind of is an annoying character. But again, I don't know. This is the problem that I'd have with it, is the idea that, is there any character you're grabbing onto in this book, and then there's another annoying character you're not supposed to grab onto?
Don't know any of the characters. Yeah. And this is what it's supposed to have been for 5 issues. So, forget about the plot. Let's just focus on the character development, get the Rashomon style, a different angle of the same thing happening, different stories. I don't know anybody in this.
Yeah.
At least Hector Hammond's got a reaction from me. He's pissed me off because he's like, hello, sport, I'm Hector Hammond.
Hello,
I'm the man who decides if you get medical treatment or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Again,
I don't know.
It's one of those, I apologize. I didn't get to go through it really the way that I would to talk about it and lose my mind. But the idea is, I'm kind of like, if we were doing the same thing and it was Wonder Woman and Batman, I definitely would have just gotten in the chat and said, listen, everybody, this day has been crazy and I need another 10 minutes or whatever. With this book, we're so close to dropping it anyway.
Yeah. I think I'm done with this issue, Jim, by the way. I'm done with with Green Lantern.
Joseph said the reveal with John is pretty cool, but it was also shown on the cover. All right. I think that I remember people complaining about it.
I forgot about the cover.
And there's a couple things, too, because I did see a bunch of reviews on the League of Comic Geeks. And there's people, what are they smoking over there? Because one person's like, this is the best book. The art's incredible. It's impeccable. I'm like, impeccable? I'm pecking the hell out of it. It is fucking terrible. It's terrible. And it doesn't give you, like, there's not even that. Like, again, Martian Manhunter, I don't love that, but you have something. And each book has to have something. What does this book have? Because if people tell me and Malik says Al Ewing needs to pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. The idea of this is each book has... Al Ewing is not a sell for me. He's not at all. In fact, I don't like Al Ewing at all. And I think he is one of the most overrated deals. And this guy, he has Immortal Hulk. He's done more than that, but that's it. And people, like, I see people when he did that stupid Metamorpho book that I want to shove up somebody's something. The idea where that was canceled kind of stopped early. And people were on, again, League of Comic Book Geeks, where they end up like, how dare they cancel an Al Ewing book? I'm like, how dare they? Every book he does gets canceled. After Immortal Hulk, I sit there and I go to people, oh, what book do you like of Al Ewing? Oh, the Immortal Hulk was great. I'm like, do you realize See, that there's been like 12 books since then. And they've all been canceled. One was a mini series, Avengers Inc. How do you get a mini series canceled? That's almost impossible. The thing was only going to be 5 issues, and it ended up getting canceled. And it was set up for it was awful. And the idea where they just keep going on with this idea of Al Ewing, he stinks. He's not writing any people with this Immortal Thor. You have Fearmark says Al Ewing is still on my shit list for Immortal Thor. And I see people telling me that that's great. I can't take it. Yeah, somebody's ripping something apart upstairs. Do you hear that? Oh, hell.
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, thank God. But then Malik says some of the people may be suffering psychosis. I can't, for the love of me, understand some of the reviews, but I digress. But that's something that I yell about all the time. I yell about these reviews. I'm reading... And Brandon's with me. I'm reading this Amazing Spider-Man this week and losing my mind. I go to a review. There is a smacked ass on, this is on Comic Book Roundup. This guy, this review he has to be punking us. I think that it was written by Chris Angel. He's mind-freaking the shit out of us. It says, 10 out of 10. One word for this issue, perfection. What? And then
That's
ends
Nick
up,
Lowe.
oh my
Nick
God.
Lowe under a fake name.
Holy, well, he's used up all his fake names for the stupid
the
letters
page.
in the back. He's like, I've had too many of those. When he's there, he's got to go to CB Sapolsky and find out some Japanese names from that asshole. I don't know how that guy got
Japanese
out of
AI,
that.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Jim, come on, you got to focus. We've got to focus.
Well, we're done.
This is the Green Lantern. What the hell are we
I'm
talking
telling
about?
we're done. I'm
What are we
already
talking
done
about?
with this. What do you give this?
I'm a Sammy. I'm an FU5 because it really pissed me off.
There it is. I'll just say the same. I'm just going to go with you because I didn't finish the whole thing. It just was terrible. But yeah, when people start yelling about reviews in the chat, then I lose it because it's ridiculous. People reviewing the books. Legit, this week again, I ended up getting a hold of DC because they took the review copies away from us. I think I told you this, but they keep sending me these press releases.
Yeah.
And it's the same guy who ends up telling me that we're assholes and we don't get the review copy. So finally, I said to him, why the hell are you sending me these press releases? I don't need this shit. You're not giving me the review copies. Go stuff it up your ass. Somehow I thought he was going to do like in a movie and he was going to be like, I like the way you think. No, he stopped sending me the press releases. I still don't have the review copies. But that's all that most of the people are doing now. They made it very clear. And I was there on the front lines. I got the emails. I was talked to by DC. They made it very clear that if you want review copies, which these people will end up at, a lot of people, no review copies, no site. They'll just fold up. They won't buy the things. They won't have them on time and whatnot. So they were told, if you do not have a certain high average, if you don't look like you're averaging 8.5 for every book, you're done. We're going to take the review copies back. But they did it in a way that if I ended up showing the email, it's a gray area, the way they say it, like a wink, wink, so they can't be real. They can still, you see what they're doing, but it's not like, hey, you got to do this, this, and this. It's like, well, we think that your coverage is not of the best interest, and we think that this, and but that's all it is. Everybody who has a review up, when you wake up on the morning of Wednesday and there's reviews up, they obviously have review copies, except Gray, who's in Japan. But the other people, they just have review copies and they are just spitting out generic-ass reviews with generic-ass scores to keep the things, including one site who's legit, just we know for a fact that they're using AI. They put the solicit in and it pumps out a review and they print it and nobody can even tell. Nope, that's where you realize nobody cares. Nobody cares. These assholes have made it so bad that nobody gives a shit about written reviews. And I'm
sorry to say that's why I've stopped writing, Jim.
Yeah.
I was writing them again. I was getting back into it, but I've just stopped. What's the point?
Yeah.
What is the point?
I have over 3,000 written reviews. I haven't done them in years because I don't care anymore, because it seems as if people have given up because of the nonsense of the dilution of shit that these people end up doing. But again,
the shield sites have killed written reviews. They've killed them because people just don't believe them. They don't trust them anymore.
Yeah, and then going the opposite way, then you have people who hate on things without reading them, and that annoys me as well. And I hate there's so many things I hate, Gray. But I also hate when people they love a book, and then all of a sudden the book starts being shitty, and all of a sudden they disappear. You're like, why aren't they reviewing it? Well, they won't, because that'll make them look bad, so they just don't review it. That drives me nuts as well. Yeah, Fear Monarch says AI can't recreate the insanity of his reviews. The AI can't tell the jokes that I used to tell a lot of poop your pants jokes and stuff. I like to joke it up in my reviews.
Well, that's how a lot of people came to the podcast. You came to Weird Science because of your written reviews. You and Eric, you were funny, you were entertaining. That's the whole point. Had personality, Jim. Imagine that in the age of AI. A review with personality.
I have to tell Fear Monarch. Fear Monarch saying that I should play because I do have a shill song, the Schoolhouse Rock. It's only a bill, but I did a redo of it, and it's like they're only shills, but I think that would get us taken down. I think that would get hit by I think it would be hit by a what's it called, strike, a copyright strike, so I can't do it.
Also,
but I do like that
remaining
song.
positive, Jim. I want to shout out Joseph Wolf because he's one of the voices in the chat who's like, he's been very fair with this series, Absolute Green Lantern. He's pointing out the positives. He enjoyed this issue.
Yeah, and that's fine.
You finally got revealed, but most people have had enough of it taking too long, to get here. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, and like a bunch of those reviews said, it's 5 issues, and you're just not getting 5 issues of info. But again, we're just yelling and screaming at this point.
Good for you, Joseph.
Yep, yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
That is it. And it says that PBS doesn't have the funding to copyright strike anymore. I will say, like, this is the beginning of it.
Boy.
See, there it is. There you go. You even have my voice there going.
Copyrighted content.
I ended up.
Detected.
I'm telling you, I really want to play it because that's actually something that I was very proud of. But I'm afraid that. Well, I could look. I think I did put it up on YouTube, and I wonder if it got struck. Should we just go with it? Should we just go? Because what the hell? What am I going to lose out on? 10 cents?
No,
right?
It doesn't matter.
And that's what'll happen, right? It'll just end up doing this. So yeah, we'll go out with that.
Unless you got thousands of people watching and lots of commercials, you get
well,
nothing from
there's 10. Not 10,000.
10 more than my live streams.
Get a boom! But that's it. Me and you supposedly are going to go off. I don't know. I think that you're already had enough of me. I wear people down when I get this crazed up, and I am sweating up a storm. But
no, you're fine. You're good. I can tell, Jim. You're on in the zone this time. So I'm just going to sit back and let.
Well,
Jim
me and you are also. Me and you are going to go off and do a Sagi Yojimbo, something that's really, really good. Malik says, "I'll tell you what I hate. That bum on Thinking Critical. Oh my God." Said he's dropping the new Cap run because it wasn't a realistic portrayal of war. Like, get out of here, dude. Let people enjoy the comic as they are. If you're putting, here's the thing. I did review, and it'll be up on the deal. Legit, I hated that Captain America comic, but for different reasons. And I talked to Wes about it.
I've not read issue 2
about
yet,
it.
but I enjoyed issue
I'm
1.
not a military. No, I'm not a military guy, so that didn't bother me. What bothered me just is that I'm just bored with it. I just don't end up the sliding timeline. I like Chip Zdarsky. I just think that, and I say in our review, I keep stressing when that comes out. It'll probably come out this weekend. But I ended up talking about the idea, like I know people will like this, and people will laugh at me because I said I don't love real world politics and the things, and I know people say, well, there's always politics, but that doesn't mean I always like them, and I was bored with it. I actually haven't really liked a Cap book in quite some time, and this one just ended up where it just doesn't seem to be for me. But me and you both liked Red Hulk, and liking that, and also we like what's it called? The
Moon Knight's decent as
Moon
well.
Knight's
this
okay.
issue was a little bit of a,
One World Under Doom. Marvel's hurting overall. Marvel's hurting. But again, I said if you want to see positive stuff this week on our podcast, I really did like JSA a lot. I really loved Resurrection Man, and that's Ram V, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I do like that book a lot. And I really like Batgirl. I thought Batgirl really turned it around. And Brandon actually said that he can't forgive Chip for Batman, and that was kind of I think that was the argument when the review comes out, me and Matt talking about the Chip Zdarsky and Batman, and he was trying to tell me that Eric loved the Chip Zdarsky run of Batman. I'm like, he did not. He was getting he liked when he jumped off the moon.
Me too. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, but other than that, Dr. Cap deal, nonsense. But yeah, it was. The Moon Knight was a filler issue. The weird thing, it was a filler issue because it was the 50th year anniversary, but you just had a 250th issue. You could have just combined those.
The one before, yeah, I know.
Actually, Sully said something too that actually intrigued me because they're leading Moon Knight's daughter around, but they're not revealing it. You know what he thought it was? He thought that they were leading us around as a reader, that we were invited to the party and they were leading the reader around. I'm like, You know what? That might have been kind of funny. That might have been a little neat, a little deal. But well, that's it.
Even for a filler issue, it was still well written. It made us laugh a couple of times.
Yeah,
so
we like 8-Ball.
Monica, I get your disappointment because we were disappointed too. But it's not like.
But we
it's
love
not like
8-Ball.
this.
I got it
like
now.
Green Lantern.
Now I have to queue up all these things. We got we got your song. We have David Lee Roth. We have.
I think people are sick of that Tim.
No, you said that just because what's his name? I don't think that Aaron is sick of it. He's just saying if he hears it again, he's going to think he knows Japanese. He could stuff it. I like that song. People like that song. But I'm going to load up these things. And I love, too, where if you're in the Slack, even he's like, yeah, you got to put together this thing with these songs. I'm like, I ain't got no time for that. You get the.
Let's get a playlist, Jim, of your cool AI.
Yeah, I got it. So I'm going to load up some things here. But thanks, everybody. I know that I was a little bit over the top here with my nonsense this week, but that was just how it is.
It's because you've been recording straight for like 16 hours.
Yeah, really. It is the deal. And now I'm trying to find the Absolute Power song. It's up there. It is. Legit, it should be called Brandon like calls it the wall. It's actually she's going for Absolute Power, and I always think it's the something else. So we have all these songs loaded up. We're gonna get out of here. We might get copyright striked and torn down. Malik says that's fair. Liking Doom though in the book, I haven't really read much Cap, so maybe I'm just not as opposed personally. The thing is with Cap, with the thing again with the Doom at the end. It is a funny play where basically, and he's talking about Hitler. I got to do that quick, but he's like, man, you're the guy who took him down. Like, it's a weird play with the whole thing. But that is it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're going to get out of here with a couple songs. We'll start with the Shill song, then we'll have Gray, and then we'll have the Diamond Day. But hopefully we don't get taken down. But here we go. Thanks, everybody, and talk to you later.
Boy, there certainly aren't a lot of reviewers giving out perfect scores for bad books these days. Hey, mister, can you tell me why?
They are just shoes, yeah, they are only shoes. Hand and napkins like you know that they will. Well, they keep giving great scores to the books that are shitty. And if I wasn't so mad, I might even take pity. And I wish they'd just go away. At least I hope and pray that they will. But today they are still only shills.
Okay, I guess that makes a little bit of sense, but why would anybody ever want to be a shill?
Well, in the case of comic book review sites, there are all sorts of reasons for being a shill. Some are looking to get review copies, while others think it's a way to get into the business. But if you ask me, I think they're all just a bunch of assholes. They are just shills, yeah, they are only shills. Kissing ass just like you know that they will. Well, now their reviews are so shitty that I just can't relate. If everything is perfect, then what is really great? They are heading for a break. For, well, I hope and pray that they will, 'cause I can't stand those stupid ass shills.
Congratulations, Weird Science. DC Comics hates you.
All right.
感動して感謝しました。本当に大好きです。私は普通の男ではありません。私はもう本性の愛です。私にからかわないでください。そうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます。私は普通の男です。でも私はあなたを殺します。だからそのまま受け取ってください。足元に注意した方がいいよ。準備をしてください。そうしないと大変なことになりますよ。私に伝わらない。私はあなたを殺します。私は日本の愛です。あなたは警告されます。
You know, everyone these days has something to be afraid of, but everyone should know what our heroes are made of. But after night terrors and beasts will come and gone, everyone's afraid of both the brains and the brawn. It's all part of her plan. Yeah, Amanda Waller is the man. She's going for absolute power. Yeah, she wants it all. She's going for absolute power. Oh, she's heading for a fall. She's going for absolute power. Somebody stop the wow. Well, it doesn't look good on Earth or out in space. She's got a brainiac queen and a robot failsafe. Better not forget she has her suicide squad. She has brain bombs attached so they don't wander off. It's all part of her plan. She's got the Batman. She's going for absolute power. Yeah. She wants it all. She's going for absolute power. Oh, she's heading for a fall. She's going for absolute power. Somebody stop the wow. It's all part of her plan. Yeah, Amanda Waller is the man. She's going for absolute power. Yeah, she wants it all. She's going for absolute power. Oh, she's heading for a fall. She's going for absolute power. Somebody stop the wow.